Hi everyone, and welcome to the second video of Ms. Paws Companion Foods and Services YouTube page. The first video went really well. Thank you for all the likes and then the comments and the shares, and we even have a few subscribers now, so I really appreciate that. We're falling off here. All right, so we're going to handle a few things today. The first thing we're going to talk about is my pet sitting business. We're going to get into what makes that a little bit unique. We're going to get into how to keep your companion safe. And then also we're going to talk about what is first aid and CPR. We're going to go into the definitions of the three types of medical emergencies, and then I'll explain all those things. So as said, the first thing we're going to talk about is what makes my pet business so unique. So my at-home pet sitting business makes it a little bit different because it comes at the convenience and safety of your companion. What I'm trying to do is come over and to make sure that your companion is not too stressed out by leaving the house and going to a stranger's house and picking up a new routine, or being exposed to some environmental issue that can cause a health concern that he would normally not be exposed to at your house. I want to make sure that you have a smooth, easy vacation and a peace of mind, knowing that your companion is at home, safe and snuggled up, just waiting on you to get back to come home and see him. So we won't talk about that too much, but that's the gist of what makes my pet sitting business different. I mainly just want to make sure that you're having a great vacation and ease of mind by making sure your companion is at home safe and not have to worry about any other elements. He's just going to be with me, cuddled up on the couch watching TV. So that's that. So again, we're going to go into the second topic of today, which is why we're really here. We're going to go into what is animal first aid and CPR. And that means we have to cover what are the three types of medical emergencies. So the first type of medical emergency is just first aid. But first aid has a wide range from just cuts to bee stings. We might have to apply a bandage. We might have to do take out a tick, anything that just requires your pet not feeling too good, from taking a temperature, giving some Pepto, giving Benadryl, anything like that that just requires him to have any sort of, hey, how you doing there, friend? What's going on? If you gotta question it, it's first aid. It can go from neosporin to fully elevating and applying wounds and pressure and the splint. It can get crazy. So first aid is really just the first thing from whether they're still breathing, his heart's still pumping. Well, that's good. Now what the hell else was wrong with him? That's first aid. So the second type of medical emergency that you have is rescue breathing. Rescue breathing is where, well, the heart's doing its job, but the lungs need a little bit of help. And at that point, you will be the lungs for that companion. You will learn the services that you need in order to keep those lungs going until you can get to a veterinarian to seek that medical attention to really get the full service oxygen that they need, or any other drugs that you wouldn't be able to have to help that companion. But you will be able to help this companion all the way to the hospital. You will be able to beat his lungs to make sure they survive. 25% of companions that get rescue breathing ultimately end up making it to the veterinarian, getting the help that they need, and they're able to have a full, thriving life afterwards. The third type of medical emergency is CPCR, which makes it a little bit different. CPCR. CPCR is cardiopulmonary cerebral resuscitation, which means we have the heart, cardio, we have lungs, pulmonary, cerebral, brain. Resuscitation, we gotta get the lungs and everything working. But this means that true veterinary attention is needed, and you are working hard. You are doing your job. You are doing your 100 beats. You got your CPR going. You got your breaths going, but you ultimately definitely need to get to the hospital. But guess what? With the skills of animal first aid and CPR, you can do that. You are helping this animal. You ultimately saved a life. So if you do it, congratulations. I've done it. We've all been there. It's definitely something that's completely handy to learn. I've been in situations with breeders when I've had to been there with neonates and helping puppies. I've been there when animals are choking and had to do the Heimlich. I've been there when something happens and they fall over and you don't know what's going on. And you got to figure out, go through the full assessment. But with the skills of animal first aid and CPR, you learn everything that teaches you. So how quite amazing is that? So The next thing we'll do is I'll give you a few examples of what the heck I'm talking about. I gave you an example of what you'll do for first aid. Maybe I did. That was in the other video. So this is another blooper. We'll ignore that. So I'll give you an example of what these definitions of first aid and CPR are. So the first one is first aid. Something's just wrong. So let's go over that. First aid is something just wrong. So my little buddy looks a little broken already. We already went over in the intro video. This is my CPR example dog. This is my bandage friend. But what we'll do is say as our friend is laying down, he just doesn't feel good. Maybe he's laying like this and, you know, he's just not having a very good day. We'll go over, check, make sure he has good color, check his capillary refill time. We'll check his oxygenation. We'll check his mucous membranes. We'll check his blood perfusion. Make sure all that's good. Then if all else is well, he has no other cuts or bruises or anything like that, let's just give our friend a pain reliever so, you know, he isn't really stressed out. Let's try to let him nap it off. In the morning time, let's offer him some chicken and rice to see what's going on. If anything's not getting better by the next day, let's see what else we can do. We'll try maybe 1 or 2 things before we go to a veterinarian. But at that point, you've helped this companion relieve his suffering. Something was wrong, something was going on, but you checked on him, you alleviated it, you did your check, you administered the pain relief. You might have gave a dose of Benadryl to kind of help him sleep a little better, but you were a service to this companion. So this is what you would do in an example of first aid. So an example of rescue breathing is when our companion, like I said, his heart is working, but his lungs just aren't really doing his job. So I'll switch dogs for this one. So this is, we talked about my first aid dog. We'll pump up the volume here. We'll get everything together. I gotta get our lungs going. All right. So this is our first aid dog. Our CPR dog, I'm sorry. And what I'll do here is show you a little bit of rescue breathing. So for rescue breathing, what you want to do, you want to make sure the companion is all the way down flat, and you'll want to give 2 puffs just to make sure. Now remember, his heart is working, so you don't want to do anything too crazy. His heart is fully working, but you want to give 2 starter breaths just to make sure. You want to make sure also that you go mouth to snout. Mouth to snout. Going inside their mouth does anything at all, so you want to cover up his mouth completely. Make sure you're going directly mouth to snout. You'll go. After you give those full 2 pumps, you'll check again here. Make sure you have a pause, and then you'll keep that pattern going. You don't want to keep going, but as long as you have a pause, you definitely want to make sure that your companion is still breathing and that his heart is still working. Rescue breathing only works if the companion's heart is still doing its job. You just need to help the lungs. So the third part of it is CPCR. And what makes this version a little bit different besides the mouth to snout is that we'll do a little push at the abdomen in order to send air and blood back up to get it to the brain to keep that going, because we need our brain to function. A lot of people, when they do CPR with humans, they end up going brain dead because their brain lacks the oxygen that they need for all the for the brain to function. So we're doing CPCR, that cerebral part there. We give that push back up, sending that blood and oxygen back up to the brain to keep the main thing we need functioning, because the brain functions the rest of the whole body, and without that, we don't have anything else. So I'll give you a quick example of that. So first, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the companion actually needs that help. You go, doggy, doggy. Hey, doggy friend, do you need help? Oh man, what do we do? We're going to help it. So you want to make sure that he's laying on his side, and I'll flip him to make it a little bit easier for myself. Make sure that he's laying on his side. You want to have the head fully down. You want to make sure also what type of dog it is. My friend here has a dome chest, so it's okay for me to lay him on his side here. And then I'll lock my fingers. I'll do hand over hand in this position. And again, this is a brief explanation. I will explain all this in way later videos. This is just to give you a definition. So I'll go hand over hand. I'll give my first 2 puffs. I'll do this. Check for a pause. Still don't have a pause. Now we get to work. I'm going to put my companion down, and if I was doing this normally, I would not be in this position. My hands would be locked. I would be standing over him, and I would give those compressions, and I'll explain all these later. But while I'm giving these compressions, like I said, this is just the CP part. We need to do the cerebral part. So what we'll do is one push down, one push up in here. Let me get into a better view. Throw that over. What we'll do here, we'll be doing one push down, one push up, one push down, one push up, one push down, one push up. And that, believe it or not, sends so much blood and oxygen back up to the brain, and that when our companion does come back around, he's a full dog and he's able to thrive and live and have a full life as he did before. So those are our definitions of companion first aid and CPR. So for our next video, since we went over my first video, I gave you an intro, gave you everything what I was about, let you know who I am. The second video today, we covered my pet sitting business, let you know that it's at your home to make sure your companion is safe, you're good convenience to him in your mind, you can have a vacation and all those things. And then also we covered the 3 definitions of what a medical emergency is. We have first aid, we have rescue breathing, and then we have true CPCR. Now the next thing we're going to do on our third video is I think we're going to do vitals. I'll show you how to do a full vital check, which is a full head to toe check on your companion, just to make sure you have a baseline. So if something does go wrong, you know exactly what to look for, or if they're just wound up playing a lot versus an actual heart rate that's too fast. There's a balance in those two. So we'll go over that. We'll go over eyes and ears and everything in between. I'll let you know all my little secrets. I'll have to break out the stethoscope for this one. Maybe I'll go grab a puppy from my friend and see how that goes. We'll see. So next time, thank you guys for watching. Always remember, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching the second video of Ms. Paws Companion Foods and Services YouTube page. Always leave me suggestions. You know I'm here for it. My first suggestion on the last video, I paid attention, you guys. So the ones who said it, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.